This is the Glynn Academy Coaches Show with head coach Rocky Hidalgo. Brought to you by Advanced Rehab, Urgent Med 1, Boyd's Transmissions, Golf Cart Wholesale, Alan David Tucker, and by Marshside Grill. And now here's your host, Glynn Academy Insider, Drayton Hogarth.
Welcome to the Glynn Academy Coaches Show with head coach Rocky Hidalgo on the Bishop Media Sports Network. This is Drayton Hogarth on location at Marshside Grill, where we will be each and every week on Sunday nights at 6:30 for the entire season. This segment of the Rocky Hidalgo Show is sponsored by Marshside Grill, Advanced Rehab, Urgent Med 1, Boyd's Transmissions, Golf Cart Wholesale, Alan David Tucker, and by ASP Pools. And now joining us, the head coach of the Glynn Academy Red Terrors, Rocky Hidalgo. Welcome, Coach.
How we doing, guys?
Tremendous win Friday. Glynn Academy takes it over Effingham, 28-19. Tell us a little bit about your thoughts from the game.
It was a homecoming game, and I think every head coach in America dreads those because, the cheerleading sponsor or the spirit club sponsor, there's always somebody in the school that plans all these events, and they're great, and they want the football team to be there, and it's awesome for the community, but it's none of it really helps the football team prepare and focus on the game. So, we actually kept, for the most part, a lot of that stuff to a minimum this week. And we had 3 great days of practice, and Wednesday or Thursday we had the parade, and it was like on Thursdays we cut the tops of the heads team off and let their brains ooze all over the field because it was not a really good Thursday practice. It's funny how little things like that affect a kid, but it does. And so our effort was really good Friday. I think our kids played hard. We had energy. I think we were just a tad off a little bit on our focus, and it showed. We made some mistakes here or there that cost us some points and on both sides of the football. Mm-hmm.
Just kind of any change in routine kind of thing kind of can throw a team off a little bit.
With teenagers, I mean, they really are. It's you get into a rhythm. It's good when you get in the season. You get into a rhythm. The kids know what to expect. They can kind of prepare for things. I think, if you go back and look at the coffee game, we had, it was a half-day teacher work day that Friday, so the kids were hanging around school. We had them watch a movie, but it just out of routine a little bit, just a shade, and things just kind of throw you off a little bit, and you're just a shade off your game. I think for the most part, we did a lot of good things Friday. I think we could have done some things better, but it gave us some stuff to work on.
Right. We truly seemed to kind of set the tone from the beginning of the game, really establishing the run heavy. Marched right down the field and scored on your first 2 drives. Was that sort of the game plan coming in?
Our game plan is to score on every drive every time. That is the game plan. Sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. And I think really we kind of got up, and I think probably we relaxed a little bit emotionally and let them back in the game. And then, I'm going to give it to Coach Holder, Buddy Holder, and his staff. I think they do a great job with their kids. I've watched them all year long, and Coach Holder and I have kind of become pretty good friends. And I think I see them. They coach their kids very well in all phases of the game. They're a very fundamental football team. Their kids play very hard. That's one of the things I look for. When I just kind of assess a coach, from film is how hard their kids play. Do they play for them? And their kids play incredibly hard. I knew it was going to be a tough game, and the game kind of went like I thought it would go, to be honest with you. And considering it was homecoming week and the type of opponent we were playing.
Right. And, of course, you welcome Garrison Hurd back from the hand injury, steps on the field, earns 73 yards rushing. Morris Demery had 50 yards and a fantastic catch in the corner of the end zone. Plus, Kendall Cross also had a rushing touchdown as well, so coming back. Tell us a little bit about Hurd and your running backs from the game.
Well, it's always good to get a guy like Hurd. I mean, Garrison he's our emotional leader with the kids. I mean, he's just one of those kids that he's a player that all the kids just kind of look to, and he picks them up. And to get a guy like that back Friday, we found out Friday we were going to get him back, that his knuckle had healed enough that he could get in and play. And so we knew he was going to get in there and get after it a little bit. I think he showed a little rust early, but once he kind of got in the flow of the game, he really picked up his play toward the second half, and he ran hard. He got some hard yards, knocked some guys down a few times.
Yeah. This is the Glynn Academy Coaches Show with head coach Rocky Hidalgo on the Bishop Media Sports Network. Of course, DJ Dallas had a fantastic game as well. Well over 200 yards rushing, 6 for 9 passing, 75 yards there, and a touchdown pass. Tell us a little bit about DJ as a quarterback and his progressing.
Well, I think you saw him really make some good decisions throwing the football. I mean, and a couple of the passes that he missed were really long passes that we were very close to completing those. And those are not high percentage throws. So I think he's doing a good job in the passing game of kind of sorting some things out. I think our receivers are really settling in, learning the routes, learning where to kind of sit down on those things, catching the ball very well. So I think we continue to develop there. And DJ is just such a phenomenal talent. I mean, he's so explosive and so slippery. And, even when the defense does the right thing, sometimes they just can't tackle him. And, frankly, it's good to have. And I am going to appreciate him fully for the next year and a half or until he graduates and goes off to University of Georgia.
Yeah, no kidding. Lovely to have a player like that with you. I noticed you ran several reverses in the game as well. Did you see something for Effingham that was maybe over pursuing on plays or something?
Well, that's kind of part of the offense as we continue to grow and develop. What you'll see is, because with this read option game, people have to keep an extra guy in the box. For the running backs, have to keep an eye on DJ, and with the formation, they have to cover our receivers. So it puts people in a bind, and what we were able to do is we could see that they were giving us the field out there, the alley out to the field, and so it's something that we felt like we could get Morris. We always look for ways to get guys the football, and it was an easy way to get Morris the ball. Morris was very good with the ball in his hands, and both those plays were very successful.
Right. Again, your offensive line had another tremendous game. Talk a little bit about your offensive line.
I think you're seeing some growth with Tommy Craig at center. Continues to get better. He's becoming more physical. Amari Cross, Michael Thomas, and Zelante Hillary are guys who, 3 juniors who continue to get better and better every week. And we're getting more physical up there. I think that's what's exciting. And we're having less negative plays. That's one of the things you notice. We're having less negative plays, less leakage up front. We're getting a hat on a hat. And, when we get a hat on a hat, we've got a great opportunity because our backs are so good.
Anybody else who had a standout game from Friday on the offensive side?
Well, I think when you go back and look at it, I think our receivers, all of our receivers, blocked tremendously well. Jace Wilder, Ryan Johnston, Poppy Thomas. I mean, they did a great job on the perimeter out there. Getting a hat on a guy and helping us get some extra yards. And then we caught the ball really well out there. I think we're doing a good job out there. And that's something because we're not throwing the ball a whole bunch, but I think we'll continue to develop that, and you'll see us be more aggressive in the passing game as we continue to improve and continue to grow offensively.
Yeah, it looks like DJ, not seen it as much in a game, well, a couple times in the game, but he's got a strong arm, even having not played quarterback much before.
Yeah, his arm is plenty good enough. And he has a strong arm. He's got great awareness back there as a quarterback. And the other side is he can stick the ball in. He knows kind of how to take a little bit off and when to kind of stick it in a hole. I mean, I knew athletically he could do the run stuff, but he has really been not, I wouldn't say surprising, but it's just been fun to see how well he's done with it so quickly.
Right.
And I know everybody's recruiting him as a wide receiver, defensive back, but I'm gonna tell you, he might be a quarterback. I'll say that. I think he's got a lot of ability that people could utilize.
Right. More to come on the Rocky Hidalgo Coaches Show on the Bishop Media Sports Network. Right now, these words from our sponsors.
Marshside Grill is your home for the best burgers, spuds, and seafood around. Come enjoy the view out by the water while taking in an ice-cold beverage. Marshside Grill is your home for the Glynn Academy Red Terror Coaches Show with head coach Rocky Hidalgo and a proud sponsor of Glynn Academy and local high school athletics. So stop in any day or night of the week for the best view and atmosphere here in the Golden Isles. And also, check us out on Facebook. Go Terrors! That back won't stop aching or that knee won't stop throbbing? Your answer is Advanced Rehabilitation and their staff of professionals. Locations in Brunswick and on St. Simons for your convenience. Go to the place that is trusted by student athletes all over the Golden Isles as well as professional athletes. Advanced Rehabilitation specializes in neuro and orthopedics and will have you back in the game in no time. Find a clinic near you, physicaltherapygeorgia.com. Tired of waiting hours to get in and out of the ER or can't get in to see your doctor? The wait is over. Urgent Med 1 is a fully functioning urgent care clinic with highly trained professionals, on-site x-ray and labs that will get you in, out, and on with life. Open weekdays 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. and weekends 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. or sign in online with ZipPass. Located off exit 36B on Highway 341, look for that MASH Jeep with the big red cross out front, ERGENT Med 1. Drive a few minutes and save a few hours.
Welcome back to the Glynn Academy Coaches Show with head coach Rocky Hidalgo on the Bishop Media Sports Network. This is Drayton Hogarth on location from Marshside Grill. This segment brought to you by Marshside Grill, Urgent Med 1, Advanced Rehab, and Golf Cart Wholesale. Coach, your defense had a great game Friday, containing the run especially. They pretty much shut them down in the running game the whole time. Tell us a little bit about your run defense and preparing for the Effingham run game.
Well, Effingham likes to use a lot of what they call RPOs, run pass options. So we decided to walk up and take the pass option away from them and force them to run the football, throw the ball down the field. And really that's what we wanted to do. And I felt like defensively we did a pretty good job with it, really, except for two plays. There were a couple times that we had some issues on the coverage side. We screwed up some coverage on some alignments and gave them a couple things that didn't really hurt us. But really it was we lost contain on the second touchdown and when we lost contain, the receiver was able to kind of float away from coverage out there. And then, the first one, Trey just fell down, and sometimes that's going to happen in a game. But all in all, I think our defensive line played well. I mean, we have a chance, defensively, because of the way we run, we play run defense, we have a chance to get in the playoffs and make it hard on people to score because of that and force them to throw the football. It's going to take a team that can really throw the football, I think, to score some points on us. And I like the matchups that we create with our defensive line, I suspect, as long as we stay healthy, we're gonna be in the mix regardless who we play.
Yeah. Brown, the quarterback for Effingham, is a big athletic kid, and your defense really kept him contained and wrapped up, and actually knocked him out of the game for a few plays. Did you feel like you guys would really do that good of a job on him at the quarterback spot?
Well, I think, I did. I felt like, and that's not a knock against them or what they were doing. I just, that's what we kind of geared to take away their running game and take the quarterback away and make him make some plays with his arm. And, to their credit, he did. He kept them in the game there a little bit with it. And so that was a big part of what we were trying to do. But I tell you, that kid's a really good player.
Yeah.
The quarterback's a good player, and I don't know what he'll have an opportunity to go play in college. He looks like a linebacker, man. He's a big, thick kid, and I was talking with Coach Holder about him. And I hope he gets an opportunity to go somewhere and to get out there and play at the next level.
What year is he, by the way?
He's a senior.
He is, okay. You mentioned they had a couple of big plays in the air, mostly to their little wideout, Demario Gant. The one play, the biggest play, I guess, looked like the defensive back got knocked off balance and got knocked over. Was that pretty much what happened?
Well, I think he looked like he heel kicked in coverage and got his feet hung up, and it's unfortunate, but sometimes that happens when you play man coverage.
Yeah.
That's what sometimes things like that happen, and when it does, you're not going to get any help on it. He's a really good player, and he's just a sophomore, unfortunately. So hopefully next year, he'll have food poisoning or something that we play him, because he's hard to handle. That little fart is hard to handle out there. He runs around, he makes some plays, and he didn't do it just against us. He's done it against everybody, and he's just one of those guys that can do it. He's got a knack for it.
Yeah, he is real shifty. What about overall on your pass game? There was your pass defense, I guess, seemed to be again, pretty strong, honestly. But the other touchdown to number 7, where the defender was right there in position. I think it just got knocked in the air, and you just kind of have to tip your cap on something like that, huh?
Sometimes they make plays. I say this. Sometimes it just works this way over the course of the season. Sometimes they're going to throw the football, it's going to hit the receiver in the hands, they're going to drop it, and you got to go back and clap your hands and be happy they didn't. And sometimes they're going to throw it up, and everybody, the guy's going to make a great play, and the defensive back's going to do everything right, and the guy still catches it.
Right.
You know, Kane Cruz had great coverage, went up and did everything he was coached to do. The ball got kicked in the air, and the kid just did a great job, and you got to, you know, tip your hat to him. Those guys are going to make plays too. They have good players. There's a reason, you know, they're where they are.
Mm-hmm. You're listening to the Rocky Hidalgo Coaches Show on the Bishop Media Sports Network. Is there anything that you say to a kid after something like that happens? You just kind of say, hey, you know, you did the right thing, kind of, you know, and go get the next one? Or?
I tell them good job. I mean, hey, you did a good look at your hands, good coverage, good job. I mean, guys are going to make plays. I mean, you see it every time. The best players in the world, you watch Sunday, the best players in the world are going to do the right things, and the guy just makes a play. And it is what it is. And you just pat them on the back, and defensive backs have to have short-term memories.
Yeah.
They got to get over things and go out and play again. I'll tell them I'll look at them, do a great job. You did everything right. Just get it next time.
Right. Who were some other players who stood out to you on defense?
Well, I think Preston Joseph and Chris McCormick were exceptional defensively. I could list a lot of our kids, our defensive line, our linebackers, but our outside linebackers played very well. I'm really pleased the last 3 games or so where Chris McCormick has come from, he's just really playing great football, and it just gives us an added dimension because he's got such foot speed defensively, but he's playing very physical football. And
right.
Preston is just, man, he's one of the toughest kids I've ever coached. I love coaching him. He just runs around and just tries to knock people's heads off.
To that point, I saw a lot of good physical play from your team on both sides of the ball. Pretty much this whole year, but again, it stood out to me again in the Effingham game. Is playing with physicality, is it as much of a mental trait as it is just going out there and using your body to be physical?
I taught, and this is something I didn't come up with this. This is something I learned. I got from Coach Harbaugh when he was at Stanford. It was he always said we want to play with class, but we want to play with cruelty as well. You want to be physical. It's a physical game, and we talk to our kids all the time. Being physical is about playing hard, and I think it really is about maturing as a football team. I don't think we were a particularly physical football team last year. I think our kids played hard, but we have kids who've kind of been through the fire, and they understand kind of how to do it, and we're really developing into a physical football team. I think the one thing I'm proud about is our kids aren't dirty about it. Our kids play their tails off between those whistles, and they go back to the huddle and they line up and do it again. They're not out there trying to hurt anybody. They're out there just trying to play as hard as they possibly can, and they're playing to win. And I think anybody who's watched our football program the last year and a half and watched us last year at this time and watched our kids this year recognizes where we are as a football program and how much our kids have developed and how much they bought into what we're trying to teach them, because they play incredibly hard.
Mm-hmm. How do you kind of go about instilling that physical mindset? Just through hard practices, or what do you think?
I'll be honest with you. I think it's a product of desire and hunger and guys wanting to win. I mean, that's what I think it is. I think most people come to our practice and, we never wear pants. We never take anybody to the ground and all these non-contact rules and live and all that stuff. We don't kill each other at practice. We don't. It's not a particularly physical practice. But if you go to NFL practices, they don't either. They don't hit anybody. At the end of the day, I think it's just our kids have bought into what we're trying to do, and they want to win. Our kids want to win football games. What we do is important to them, and I think that's why they play the way they do. I think that's why they're physical. They play incredibly hard, and when you play hard and you finish plays, you're physical.
Right. We will be right back with the Glynn Academy Coaches Show with head coach Rocky Hidalgo on the Bishop Media Sports Network.
Need an attorney who specializes in personal injury and criminal law? Alan David Tucker. He fights for the rights of the injured and accused. Located next to the waterfront at 9 St. Andrews Court. Since 1982, Alan David Tucker has been practicing law in the Golden Isles and helped thousands of people just like you solve their legal problems. Give Alan David Tucker a call. Proud supporter of Glynn Academy Athletics, 912-267-7123, and let's go Terrors. Looking to make your life more fun? Then check out GCW Karts. With top-of-the-line karts like Easy Go, Bad Boy, and Cushman, You can cruise the island or just around the neighborhood in style. Need to rent a cart? GCW Rental rents carts for long or short-term use, and they make it easy by delivering your cart to you and picking it up when you're finished. So remember, for brands like E-Z-GO, Bad Boy, and Cushman, visit GCW Carts in Brunswick at the corner of Cypress Mill Road and the Spur, or call 912-434-4601. You've walked your last mile. Boyd's Transmissions will get you riding with a smile. Boyd's Transmissions is your hometown stop for any and all transmission work and much more. Boyd's Transmission has been locally owned and operated for over 30 years right here in Glynn County. Come check us out at 3123 Norwich, right across from the National Guard Armory. 912-264-6768, or find us on Facebook and go Terrors. It's hot and keeping your pool running is essential right now. ASP is your hometown pool care and maintenance neighbors. Marcus and the professionals at ASP will have your pool looking and running like a dream to help you beat the heat. 912-230-5777 or online at www.stsimonsgapoolservice.com or find ASP on Facebook. ASP is a proud supporter of Glynn Academy Athletics. Let's go Terrors!
Welcome back to the Glynn Academy Red Terror Coaches Show with head coach Rocky Hidalgo on the Bishop Media Sports Network. This is Drayton Hogarth on location at Marshside Grill. This segment is brought to you by Boyd's Transmissions, ASP Pools, and by Alan David Tucker. Coach, we talked about the offense and defense. I don't want to leave out your special teams who had another solid game. And you actually got 3 kickers in to the game, I believe. Is that right?
Yeah, Banks and Whistle and August Bowers and Scout Churchwell all did a little kicking for us.
Okay. And then the only negative, I guess, would be the short punt or short snap on the punt that ended up getting blocked or tackled the punter.
Yeah, Garrison has been our snapper for 2 years, and with his fractured hand, we had to go out and we had to get another snapper. And Chance Lewis, we found Chance could do it, and then Chance went and sprained his wrist. A bad sprain against Ware County and really didn't practice, hasn't really practiced at all, and snapped a little bit Thursday. So, you hate to say that, but I was really concerned about having some snapping issues because of Garrison being out and because Chance is having his wrist injured, and it was just one of those things that, we've been very fortunate. I don't think we've had a bad snap knock on this plastic table since I got here. And you're just going to have some every now and then. And considering the circumstances with our deep snappers having to have 2 of them injured like that, we were probably overdue for one.
Yeah. But other than that, he did a great job for being the third snapper on the team.
Yeah, he's done a good job, and hopefully he'll get healed back up, and we can get out there and now with Garrison coming back, we feel like we have 2 good ones.
Right. Well, upcoming for Glynn Academy will be a road trip to Statesboro to take on the Blue Devils of Coach Steve Pennington. Tell us a little bit about the Blue Devils and what can we expect from them.
I think they're really, really young, and they've got freshmen and sophomores playing all over the place. When you watch their team, it's kind of scary, to be honest with you. They have a lot of size on the offensive line. Their kids really come off the football, and they play with good pad level. Mm-hmm. I think they've got some pretty good backs, and what concerns me is them when I say they've got good size, they're really big up front of them, just trying to come in and lean on us and try to run the football a little bit. So we're going to have to do a great job up there. I think, obviously they've struggled sometimes this year, and a big part of that, I think, is consistency with their young players. What's happened is they've had some execution errors, and that's what happens when you play young kids. Last week they had, I think, 6 starters out, and that just exacerbates the situation. So, I'm sure we'll get their best kids, and everybody will be back healthy this Friday night, and it's going to be one of those games that we're still trying to march on to share the region title. Right. So we need to make sure that we get on the bus and go up there, and we're committed to continue to improve and get after Statesboro.
Right. I know you they have struggled a little bit this year, but is this the kind of game that really goes back to what you said all year long, is focus on us?
We need to be a mature football team, and we need to have the maturity to go to practice and work, because we've got big games in front of us. We're trying to compete for a region championship. we got the playoffs around the corner, and our goal, we can't just have an off week. We need to continue to move forward and improve, and that's really what I'm going to sell our kids on, is that we need to go over there and play great football and get after them, and be great Friday night, be a great football team Friday night, and don't worry about who the opponent is.
Right. This is the Glynn Academy Coaches Show with Rocky Hidalgo on the Bishop Media Sports Network. Coach, on an earlier show, I kind of asked you about the offensive line and coaching it, and how to coach up an offensive line for the fans when they listen at home or what have you. Let's flip it over to the defensive side. And we always hear about blitzes on defense, and this team blitzed here, blitzed there. Can you kind of, it's to the point where everybody thinks they know what a blitz is. Can you kind of coach us up a little bit and tell us how to set up blitzes and things like that?
Well, there's a lot of different things other than a blitz can be a lot of different things, and obviously, and defensively, you have line stunts, and you have your pass rush games. So you have stunts and games. So if I'm moving just the line and I'm not bringing a backer or safety, what I'm doing is I'm running a stunt, a line stunt, and that's to take away the run, something against the run. A game is to rush the passer. And then you get into things like zone fires and zone dogs and blitzes, and there's depending on if you're bringing a linebacker, if you're bringing somebody from the secondary, is what you're doing. And so there's subtle differences in each one of those things. I think the general term is we say blitz, but there's depending on if you're playing man behind it or zone behind it, it could be a zone fire or a zone dog.
Right.
And then you've got your basic blitz combinations, which are your backers, which are everybody wants to talk about blitzing a backer, but then you've got to package that with pass coverage, and sometimes backers are blitzing and is it a run blitz? Or is it something that's designed to rush the quarterback? So there are different types of blitzes when you send a linebacker. What you're trying to do, what the goal is. If it's a run down, you may run something that's a run blitz, and then if it's a passing down, you may run a zone fire.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a very deep question, and depending on the down distance and the circumstances, depends on how you would fit each one in there, and then you've got to combo the pass coverage behind it.
Right. So if if somebody just saw a run blitz versus a pass blitz, would they appear the same or?
Well, it may be. See, a lot goes into it. So it depends on who has necessarily force. Your force player, your spill player. Those are fit terms of how you fit on the football. Force is the player who's always outside the ball, and basically he's going to turn everything back in. Your spill player is the guy who spills the ball to the force player.
Okay.
So it all depends on a lot of different things in there. Most people probably see some guys blitzing and think it's all the same. And when you just call the will linebacker, you call the will linebacker. But the defensive line in front of them, you may have the will linebacker go through B gap. You may have 3 or 4 different blitzes or pass rush or zone fires or dogs that you're doing with this just to create to get pressure on the quarterback or to take away a particular running game.
Right.
So to the layman who's just sitting at home on the couch, it might all look the same. They blitz.
Right.
But to a guy who's coaching football, it all depends on the down and distance and what their probability is, if they're going to run the ball and what running play they like to run in this situation. A lot goes into that to a defensive coach to make that call.
Right. And also, you've seen a lot of crazy catches and crazy endings here the past couple weeks in college football with the Michigan State game.
What happened at the end of that one? I'm just kidding. I didn't see that.
Then, of course, last night, Florida State lost on a blocked field goal that was returned for a touchdown to Georgia Tech. What, in all your years of coaching, what's been the craziest type of finish or craziest catch that you've ever seen?
I've seen a lot of crazy plays. To be honest with you, I've seen a ton of crazy plays where that not all of them necessarily at the end of the game. Sometimes at the end of halves, but so I think that's. I'm trying to think. You put me on the spot here. That's one of those you got to give me in advance and let me think about that. We've won some last second games on blocked field goals and long field goals and things like that, and passes. We beat a great Lassiter team, years ago. I guess it was '99 or something like that, on a throw in the end zone at the end. But I don't know if I've ever won one just on a crazy play at the end, per se.
Yeah, got you. All right. Appreciate it. Good luck up in Statesboro this Friday. Thank you, everyone, for joining us for the Glynn Academy Coaches Show with Rocky Hidalgo on the Bishop Media Sports Network. Come out to Marshside Grill and join us every Sunday night at 6:30 for the Rocky Hidalgo Show. This is Drayton Hogarth signing off.